Hoffa's Union Thugs. I wasn't quite sure what Chris wanted out of this. He looked like he tried to build a balanced team, but he got caught up on some of the bids. I know he had some guys in mind that he definitely was going after, and he wasn't going to budge off them. He wasn't going to let anybody push him off him. And that's admirable, but at the same time, when it gets up to that scary number, is the player worth it? Sometimes he's not. And I don't know that some of these players are worth what he paid. But, I mean, I could be wrong. In the season, he could come out gangbusters. So he started out, he went with two very, very good quarterbacks. One I think is going to be absolutely amazing this year, and I have him moving up my ranks. Most people have him lower, so go get him in your redraft leagues in the 8th, 9th, or 10th round, is Jameis Winston. I like the project that he has become. I hope that in Arian's system he can do well. So I'm buying Jameis Winston right now. Jameis Winston, he got $2.7 million, and his other quarterback is Baker Mayfield. He's very, very high on Baker Mayfield, and he paid for it. $4.2 million. His running backs, this is where I was talking about where he kind of got carried away. No pun intended. He went and got Kerryon Johnson, and he paid $12 million for him. I figured Kerryon would have went in between 9 to 11 million. 12 was reaching it. I don't think I would have had the stomach, and I'm a Detroit fan. I don't think I would have had the stomach to stay in on a $12 million Kerryon Johnson. And because of that, his running back suffered. He ended up only getting Gus Edwards, Justin Jackson, and then he made a trade to get C.J. Anderson to back up Kerryon just to make sure. But that's all he has for running backs. I'm sure he's going to try and deal with that at the draft, but that's, you still have to wait for that time. His wide receivers, he went Kiki Kute, who everybody knows that Chris is very high on. Chris Moore, Chris Godwin. I don't know what it is with Chris's, but Chris is buying all the Chris's. Trey Quinn, Devontae Adams, and Amari Cooper. So Amari Cooper and Devontae Adams. Amari Cooper came up, I think he was the second or third guy off the board. And Chris paid for him $11.2 million. I didn't think it was too high. I just think, I don't know that Amari Cooper is going to put up the points that warrant $11.2 million. Devontae Adams, he paid $14 million for. When you're looking at Devontae Adams and he's listed potentially in the top 3 for wide receivers this year, $14 million is an okay price to pay. But with that much money wrapped up in those two guys and $12 million wrapped up in Kerryon, and then he paid for Chris Godwin, who is a number 2 wide receiver there, right? And he paid $8 million. That's really tough. I don't think Chris Godwin's worth $8 million, but Chris obviously did, so he paid for it, which is fine. I mean, his team is rounding out fine, except he's weak at running back. Tight ends, same thing. Mid-range tight ends, he has Jordan Thomas, he has Blake Jarwin, he has Matt LaCrosse, and he has Jordan Reed. And Jordan Reed was acquired in a trade. He paid very little on them because he had very little money left. We'll move on to his defense. He got Matt Ioannidis and Carlos Dunlop. Those are his only defensive ends, so he's going to have to address that at the draft. Terrell Suggs, Devin Kennard, Vince Williams, Vontaze Burfict, and Leighton Vander Esch. Leighton Vander Esch, he paid $3.6 million on. I don't know if it's worth it. Leighton Vander Esch did very, very well last year. I'm hoping he can repeat this year, but $3.6 million is still pretty high. The shocker to me was he took Derwin James as one of his DBs. And Derwin James, he paid $3.7 million on. I get that Derwin James is in the conversation to be the top DB of this season, but at the same time, $3.7 million spent on Derwin James is way out of my price budget. I don't think I would have paid much more than $2.6 million on him. So that's a $1.1 more. Sean Davis, Marcus May, Tedrick Thompson, and Adrian Colbert are his DBs. And you can tell that he spent money in one spot. So like Carlos Dunlop was $1 million. Ioannidis was the minimum, league minimum, 400,000, and then all his linebackers are 400,000 except for Van Der Esch. All his DBs are 400,000 except for Derwin James. So he basically was like, I'm going to nail one guy, and then everybody else is going to be league minimum.